Okay, welcome back everyone. Hydrated, caffeinated? Cool. So now we would move to the second phase of our meeting, which would be about dynamic speaking. I was trying to think of what's the right phrase to use, because generally we tend to have half the evaluation in the first half of the meeting, but today we restructured the meeting purely because it's a long format meeting we've got today. So we'll start by ultra-dynamic speaking in form of our table topics. Table topics for the uninitiated are free speaking. Think of improv. You come here, you're given a topic and you have to just speak for 2 minutes. And today's session will be led by Simon Wetgama. So may I please welcome Simon to find his guinea pigs.
There's no rhyme or reason to any of my questions. I'm quite idiosyncratic, but be prepared to blag, BS, and make things up for 2 minutes. The first victim is going to be Ruth. I will offer to take questions to you on stage, just to put you under a little bit more pressure. An easy one, 10. How do you prepare to answer a table topics question?
The answer is you don't. You just get up and open your mouth. And whatever comes out is perfect. That's exactly what happened to me when I entered the evaluation competition this year at my club. We were taken out into a little room after listening to a speech, and we were given 5 minutes. Now you don't really get to know what goes on during those 5 minutes, but I can tell you. There was Ben, a very accomplished speaker from our club, sitting there going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say. And then there was Jackie saying, shut up Ben, we can't concentrate. And then there was me, and I was staring at a blank piece of paper with a big R for recommendation in the middle. And the time went. And time passed, and lo and behold, there was nothing written on that paper. Anyway, they have a process, they take it away from you, and when you get to the door, they give it back to you. Well, they gave it back to me, and I looked, and there was nothing meaningful, so I just put it on the table and said, well, that will have to do. And as I walked to the stage, I had absolutely nothing in my mind. And I had my back to the audience, and then I turned. And I opened my mouth. And for 3 minutes, I said something, I don't know what, but it must have been okay, because I won. And I'm like, how on earth did I do that? So that is how you make up a table topic on the spot.
Ahmed, you're next on stage.
Thank you.
From a Green's perspective, is it better to be buried or cremated? Justify your answer.
Could you repeat the topic?
From a Green perspective, is it better to be cremated or buried? Justify your answer.
You mean from an environmental
Yes.
perspective? So I would like to be buried if I pass on to another world. And I believe burying is much more environmentally friendly compared to being cremated. And the reason for that is when you are cremated, you'll emit lots of gases to the ozone. And, place in the future and to make a contribution even after passing away, I would prefer to be buried and over being cremated. And that's all I have to say about this topic.
The male can. Sorry, I have two cans, I just wanted to. Why do zebras have stripes? Sorry? Why do zebras have stripes?
I have no idea. Well, I assume I don't know the scientific thing around it, so it's like a horse having pajamas on, really. So, what else can I say? Black and white stripes. I don't know what else to say. You know. Yeah. So, can you say that question again?
Why do zebras have stripes?
Why do zebras have? Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Make anything up.
Well, maybe someone painted the horse with black and white stripes. All the horses. And, no, I can't really think about anything. But I think it's God made, so God made them different colours. So maybe He intended to have a horse, but they decided to have a horse with stripes. So, what else can I say? I don't know.
What about the crossings?
Sorry?
The crossings.
The crosses.
Yeah, the zebra crossing.
Oh yeah. You could have a zebra crossing, but I don't know who thought about that. So.
Can two. Sorry, they can. According to a Radio 4 program that was on this week, it is legally possible for an adult to marry a child in 50 United States. How would you persuade the legislators of those states that it is immoral and wrong?
What's the age?
Well, they call them children.
It's legally able to do that.
They're legally able to do that in America.
Why do I get them? A difficult topic, a moral topic. It's just the face, isn't it? That I've got this face that I could have done with a zebra story. To get all serious in a church as well. I do feel like it is morally wrong for anyone to marry a child because you're a child. You don't know what you're doing, and then you're getting married to an adult who does know what they're doing. So the problem is that adult that wants to marry that child. The fact that 50 US states, I know we got Donald Trump, but why do we have to have stupid Americans as well? Like, these people need to be thinking, and when you have someone like a president like Trump, he would come in and probably justify that and say it's good for the economy, or something stupid like that. So, I don't have to give you the reasons why it's wrong. We all know it's wrong. We've all been children, or we have children, or we know of children who have been abused at a young age. So, be human and do the right thing, and do not marry children and change the law. So, that's my opinion on that.
Tim?
Yeah.
Salman Rushdie gave us the advertising tagline, "Go to work on an egg." Cadbury's cream egg?
Well, I'm a bit of a chop its head off. I've been reading my daughter a story called Mog. Mog likes eggs. Is a cat. And I have to read this story every night. She throws it in front of me and she looks at me and she goes, "Daddy, reading." And there's Mog the Forgetful Cat, there's Mog and the Baby, there's Mog's Christmas, there's Mog's Bad Thing, which is about Mog doing a poo on Mr. Thomas's chair. So I have to go through this every night and I'm like, can you not just go for Mog's Bad Thing? But I always have to go through the thing about the story about the egg, about a cat eating an egg. So I've got problems with any kind of story about felines eating eggs. Cats should eat, I don't know, kitty cat or something else like that. So what you see me do here, in a not a very clever way, is completely change the subject about how to eat a Cadbury's cream egg. But I think I started right at the beginning, say I think if I were to eat a Cadbury's cream egg, I would just bite the top off like every other normal human being.
Email. What makes us civilized?
That's a really good question. Thanks for inviting me that. Before I do answer that, I would like to say that my manager's going to love the fact that I got up today on my first session to talk about something I'm nothing about. Can you repeat the question again, Simon?
What makes us civilized?
See, the reason I made you repeat that is because, and I hope you all agree to this, doesn't Simon sound like the type of guy that'd be on a TV show asking questions around, for example, what is the population of Thailand at the age of the year of 1942? Somebody who might win $1 million. Hands up, anybody who would agree to that? Alright, good. So to answer your question, Simon, I think what makes us civilized is a number of things. Given the difficulty of the question, I'm going to pick out one small thing and then emphasize on that. And I think my top point around what makes people civilized is just being kind-hearted. So you'll probably notice this more so less in London, but in poor areas where I think there's less money, people are a lot more kind-hearted, and you'll find that they are more civilized. So I think to answer your question, kind-hearted people. Thank you.
Rena. What are the personal qualities a future Prime Minister should possess?
Okay. So, when I've been sitting there, been going for a bit of suspense, Simon is unusually getting people to stand up so they don't even have that added few seconds when they're coming up to think about what they're going to think about. But what makes the good qualities in a new Prime Minister? Is that the question, Simon?
The personal qualities.
Good personal qualities. So I think the government out right now, I think most people would agree, we're a bit of a shambles, and we're probably quite embarrassing to a lot of countries around the world. But I'm not sure what it does take to run a country such as the UK. We've got so many different types of people. We've got so many different cultures. We've got different kinds of wealth. We've got climate change happening, and we need to think about some qualities that are going to be a good Prime Minister. So, very backwards. So I don't know what's going to happen. But I think love and respect and maybe some equality. I don't think you can have equality in politics, but let's strive for equality. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you for some interesting answers to some idiosyncratic questions.
Okay, that was something. Can I please request Nish to come here and share the times that all of our brave speakers spent here on stage? Please welcome Nish.
Before I tell you the times, I'm going to apologize to two members who came here and spoke because I didn't quite catch their names. And your name is? Cam. And you are? Right, okay. So Ruth spoke for 1 minute 55 seconds. Ahmed spoke for exactly 1 minute. Cam spoke for 1 minute 46 seconds. The other Cam spoke for 1 minute 25 seconds. Tim, you were 1 minute 40 seconds. And Ahmed, you spoke for 1 minute 29 seconds. And Rina was 1 minute 47 seconds. So everybody really fine.
So please pay attention to the evaluation slip. There are voting slips there for table topic speakers. So could you please cite the names one more time for the speakers so that make your choice for the best table topic speaker.
So we had Ruth up first, then Ahmed, then Cam in the front row, then Cam in the back row, then Tim here, and Ahmed in the far seat, and Rina here.
So differentiation is Cam Khurana and Cam Baines. So if you are choosing between them,
Yes, right, female Cam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Thanks. While you're doing that, let's vote for the best speaker as well. Sorry, another mistake on my side.
Should we check these first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So let's do the table topics first, so that we don't mix the two votes. So, for any guests, if you have the vote slip, please just raise your hand and we'll come around and collect it.
This is just, yeah, that'll come.
So this is for table topics. You don't need it. Okay, and now votes for the best speaker. I apologize, I missed that. So first speaker was Claudia Welch. She gave a keynote speech tonight. The second speaker was Sumit Singh. Third speaker was Carla Donahue. And fourth speaker was Melanie Laker. So I repeat the names: Claudia, Sumit, Carla, and Melanie. So again, like before, please just raise your hands with the slips and we'll come and collect those votes.
It's all right. Speaker.
Okay, so as we learned today, I'm still scarred by those table topics. Toastmasters is not about just speaking; it's also about listening. and also part of that listening involves understanding how can you improve your skills. So let's call upon this stage. Next is the speaker's evaluation, which should be done first by David Horn, who is evaluating Claudia's speech today. So please welcome on stage David Horn.
BAM! Benefits, action, and mentoring. Three really important things, three really important reasons why anyone should join Toastmasters and seek to develop themselves. Now, Claudia gave us a keynote speech, and that's not something we often have in this club, but it's a really refreshing thing to see, and it's a really interesting thing to see. And as many of you know, I'm also developing my skills as a professional speaker, so it's also something for me to watch and learn from. And so it was a real pleasure to observe and evaluate Claudia's speech tonight. It's hard to cram a 20-minute speech into a 2 to 3 minute evaluation. I'm going to give Claudia some more detailed feedback, but just wanted to raise a few points initially. I liked in particular the way she engaged the audience right up front with several questions. You know, she asked us why we were here. She asked us what we were doing. She asked us why we do these things. And that really gets us thinking. That really gets us sort of involved and engaged with the audience. She used the stage space quite well, moving around. I would have liked to see her use more of the stage, and especially as a professional speaker, when you've got a lot of room, you can really come out here and explore all over the things. One other thing, little thing that I picked up on, but it was something that was pointed out to me the first time I went to compete in a professional speech, was she talked about the left and she talked about the right, but when you're actually up here on stage, it's not your left and right that counts, it's the audience's, and it's kind of a bit screwy in your head, but you've got to get used to the fact that that's the left and that's the right, because it's not yours, it's the audience's. During the speech, and again one of the key subjects of the speech is to engage with and build rapport, and Claudia started that really well with the questions. However, I felt in the middle she asked a couple of questions and there wasn't that much audience engagement. She kind of had to pull that out a bit, and that's a tricky thing to do, and I know what it's like when you're up there and you've asked some questions and you're expecting all these great responses and nothing happens. I was at one and I asked a question and like one person put their hand up. You've just got to be able to associate with that and deal with that, and perhaps when you're preparing questions that you're going to ask to the audience, think about it from the perspective of, if I was in the audience, how comfortable would I feel about answering that, in order to ensure that you make that engagement. One other recommendation I would make to Claudia, she scanned the audience quite well, but it felt to me like she wasn't actually making eye contact with anyone in the audience. She was just looking above us, and when she pointed and said "you," which was very effective and powerful, she said "you" and she said "you," and it was just a sort of a random point. And it's important when you're engaging with the audience that actually you, and you can do it in a gentle way, you don't have to be accusatory, but you can do that, and again that's a really helpful way to really connect, because what you want to achieve as a professional speaker is a connection with an audience as a whole, but the best way to do that is to connect with individuals in the audience. It was a great keynote speech, and I really applaud Claudia for coming and doing it.
Next up is Tim Rodler to evaluate Sumit's speech. Please welcome on stage Tim.
BAM! Sorry, I forgot to speak. I just thought that was cool. Judge of that, I suppose. I like Sumit when he talks, because it always makes me smile a little bit. He's got that twinkle in his eyes. What do you think? I think he does. I think he's got that thing going on. I can see why he's married. I see how it worked out. Sumit opened well. He tends to own the stage a little bit. He tends to understand people. he looks at people in the eye. To be honest, I sort of shut off a little bit at the start. I was actually thinking about something else. I was actually thinking about my garden, because I just had my garden done. And then he said, I was in deep shit. And usually it's a dodgy thing to use a swear word, but I think he used it in a very sort of non-aggressive, I'm being a sweary person sort of way. And said something like, right, okay, he's used an expletive, that's good, we're in. And then he got into his stride. He used some really nice language. I just love this expression, desolate, God-forsaken campus. I thought that was a beautiful piece of poetry. Now the point of this speech is to use vocal variety. I did this the other week. I spent most of the time shouting at the audience, but it is important to vary. And I think, and I'm going to go with the recommendation here. I thought the volume was good and it was high, but you needed to go down a bit as well, just to emphasise a point. Sometimes you might go, you'd be really shouting, and then you go, oh, there's this. And I think that's a really good, effective way to grab people's attention and to sort of wake them up if they start, like me, thinking about making a garden. I think he outlined his predicament well. I love the emphasis on 13%. This is the interest he's going to pay, and we all hate interest, don't we? Not interesting things. We hate the prospect of paying interest. I think I've alluded to this as well. He used the stage well. I think he had good use of pauses, and I just enjoyed the story. I thought it was what I put here. It is good. it is what it is. It just says good story, good storytelling, and I think that's what Smith does best. I think he was just getting. I thought the story was going somewhere, and then it just sort of ended. And I was like, oh, I think it's just getting warmed up. It felt like he cut himself off at his prime. So, apart from that, I thought it was fantastic, and thank you very much. I really enjoyed it, even though I was a bit rubbish listening at the beginning. So, yeah, thank you very much.
The next evaluator on stage will be Irina, who is evaluating Carla's speech. So please welcome on stage Irina.
First of all, I want to congratulate Carla for having the courage to take the first step in Pathways and deliver the speech today. I've been knowing Carla for a few months already, and I can appreciate her enthusiasm, her commitment, and her engagement into this club. And I'm so happy to see delivering this speech. I've been waiting for so long for this, so well done. So in Toastmaster, we all have this evaluation feedback form, which consists of a few points in there. You have to look and assess your speaker, which I'm not going to do that. But I'm still going to use a Toastmaster method, which is called a sandwich method. So I will be starting saying that I enjoyed the structure of his speech. I thought he lined everything so in a chronological way, year by year, and with so many details that I didn't notice them, in a good way. In the sense that her life seems to be so long back way, and she took us for it. But I feel so short and so enjoying to follow her. Which brings me to the second point. She mentioned about her accent. Well, I can tell I love your accent. And some people say the accent defines a person. And I think it's true. Because what I see in her accent is the kindness of her voice, femininity. And it definitely defines Carla. What I also engaging everyone, and basically sending us the message of a story. And if she changed the smile into a more sad expression when she said about her father, I think it would help her much better in sending the message of her story in her life. I maybe took a pause at that stage. I know it's her first speech, and that's why she's starting to rush in delivering all the message. However, I felt the emotion of sadness in her eyes when she talked about the wedding and the fact that her mother-in-law didn't came to that wedding and meant so much for her. So to end up, I think she had a strong ending by saying, no matter who you are, you can do it. I think it's quite encouraging for us at Toastmaster, and encourage myself to do some action. So well done and congratulations to her.
Thank you, Irina. And next up is Cam Bates, and she is evaluating Melody's speech. So please welcome on stage Cam Bates.
Adult magic. I love the title, because when you think of magic, you think of children, you think of Harry Potter, but I love the way she put adult magic. And then she went on to explain, as we get older, the magic falls away. And she used beautiful descriptions throughout her speech, actually. Old socks and tax returns, they just put away. So when I'm going to go and evaluate the speech, the rest of the speech, I've split it into what I liked and what I would recommend. I feel like the personal stories really helped to bring this speech to life. Being on the tube, someone sneezes and says, "Bless you." And she used great humour. She used the words, they were like zombies resurrected. And we all feel like that when we're on the tube. Everybody's just looking down, going their own way, so we could all identify with that. Then she went on to talk about the escape game. And I love, she had very simple gestures, but just when she spoke about the curtain and she said it parted, and she just did this gesture to show that the curtain had parted. And I thought that was just really lovely. She went on to speak about Paris. And what she did here was she created suspense, because she's building and building, and there was great use of vocal variety. When she talked about the waitress, she said, "Are you sure you're ready for this?" And she brought us all in, and I thought that was very clever. In terms of recommendations, I felt Melody rushed into her speech right at the beginning. She was off like a train, and that's where I would recommend, when you come up here, take a moment. It's your time. Let everyone use that space. Don't be scared to be in silence for a few seconds and then start. And as the speech went on, she warmed up. She slowed down. And I feel like there might have been a few nerves. Maybe that's the reason she was rushing. But that's fine. That comes with time and practice. I really enjoyed the descriptions, but I would recommend to make more of those, to bring all of those visuals that she gave us to life. Like she spoke about blue velvet and candlelit tables and the two-way mirrors. It's like she was inviting us into this magical land, so she could slow down and really take us. And then if she does the speech again, to use the stage and hold, and then use the stage and hold again. Melody did ask me to, she had notes, and she was afraid of relying on her notes. And I feel like she didn't actually use those notes, so she could have put them in her back pocket, and when she needed them, bring them out and use them. So
So to conclude, it was an engaging speech, great use of personal examples. She had a relaxed, confident start, and she wrapped up with a call to action. She challenged us to create some adult magic. Well done, Melody.
Thanks, Pam. The next evaluator would be for the table topics, the colorful table topics we have today from Simon. So please welcome Sharon Baines on stage to evaluate the table topics.
Hello everyone. So I'm going to be doing table topic evaluation, and it was great table topics as usual. Simon always finds the most obscure questions to ask. And the first question went to Ruth. How do you prepare to answer table topic questions? And you could tell Ruth was an accomplished table topic speaker. She grasped the topic with a quick snap, like you don't prepare, and she just flowed with it. What I loved about it was that she was really funny. She had the whole audience laughing, and she used personal examples. And the best personal example was that she actually won table topics. So she had great body language, and she was really open. Which, because she won table topics, it's really hard to find a recommendation. I'm just grasping now, but a recommendation that I'd probably use for Ruth is that she's so good at table topics. Maybe if she uses stage a little bit more, kind of spoke to everybody on this side, and then maybe moved along here and then engaged everybody on this side. But otherwise, it was a fantastic table topic. Ahmed, talking about working on the green perspective, should you be cremated or buried? Wouldn't really want to answer that type of question, but what I liked about Ahmed was that it's the first time he's come to table topics, and first time he's come to Trojans, and actually to come up and speak in front of an audience that you've never really spoken, and in an environment that you're not used to, and doing a table topic for the first time, I think he really did well with it. He had great hand gestures, he had great open body language, and I didn't see any hand claspings, which was brilliant. With regards to what I would recommend, I noticed that he was standing a little bit far back. I would say come into the audience, you've got great presence, use your stage, you did really well. Next, moving on to the male cam. Why do zebras have stripes? Again, an obscure question, but what I love about Cam, and he did this the first time he came, is that he's so happy to stand here and just make it to the 2 minutes. And it's really, really hard to hear, especially when he just kept going and going. He just didn't give up, and that's really admirable. Because when you're up here and he would just say, I don't know, why would the zebra have stripes? And to be able to say over and over again, and just wait for that red hit, you know, I have to say, and he was quite clever in using the time. He asked, oh, what was the question again? So that was a clever way to get your time up. A recommendation, I noticed that he was like standing with his hands in his pockets, you know, think about your body language and how you can open up. Try not to use so many ums and ahs. And yeah, and if you find yourself in a position where you can't think of anything to say, just change the topic completely. Just talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's your table topics. Do what you want to do. Moving on to camp female. Adults in the US can marry children in 50 states. I don't think I would have wanted to answer that question. But I loved the way at the beginning she felt like, oh, I don't know what to say, so she completely diverted the question and started talking about something random and saying, why do I get these type of questions? Great way to kind of gather your thoughts and bring yourself back into the flow so that you can answer the question. Really good point. We could all use that sometimes if we're feeling a little bit stuck. It was a great table topic. With regards to recommendation, I would say perhaps use a little bit more vocal variety, because you said, you know, like, what's wrong with the USA? You could have gone really with it. and now they've got Trump as well. You know, kind of really gone off on a tangent with it. That would have really umped your little table topic up. Now we're going to move on to Tim. How do you approach eating the cream egg? I know there's another portion of it, but I thought I'll be up here all night if I start doing the whole question. So what I love about Tim is that his storytelling ability. And I love the way he went off on a rant. He just went, and he got to the point where you really did kind of really get engaged, and you could really feel his frustration. In that moment, you were like, I know exactly how you're feeling, because he really got us all riled up. Recommendation that I'd like to give to Tim is, there was times where you just kind of like speaking. And I know you were doing a rant, but it would have been great if you just got us all into it. And do you know what I mean? Have you ever had that experience? Can you imagine how I was feeling? Really get everybody into that emotion, because your storytelling ability is amazing. I love listening to you talk about topics. And now we're going to move on to Emmett. Yeah. Emmett, what makes us civilized? I love the fact that you came up here, it's the first time up here, again, same as Ahmed. It's really difficult to get into an environment, but you did fantastically. I love the fact that you managed to turn it around on Simon and started engaging him into the whole thing. I thought that was a bit of stroke of genius. And then you asked the audience and got the audience engaged, which is great for the first time that you're up here. You clearly are comfortable up here on the stage, which is great. What I would say to you is probably maybe use your stage with a little bit more purpose, that when you were talking, you were just kind of like aimlessly going, like, if you want to make a point, just come to one side, make your point here, and then come to the other side and make your point there. Another recommendation, maybe use a little bit of gestures, like when the first time you said, well, I think, you know, my boss might be really happy about me coming up on Toastmasters the first time and making a speech. You know, kind of really get yourself into the mood. And lastly was Rena. What personal qualities should the next MP have? I love that she gets the audience to answer the question. Fantastic. Great way. What do you think? And I think if you got an answer back, and then you really started having the whole conversation with the people, with whoever answered your question. Great way to get the audience to help you out. I love the way you use your hand gestures, but one thing I did notice was that you were clasping as well. So maybe think about, am I clasping my hands? Because when you start talking and you're blowing, your hand gestures are brilliant. And recommendation. At one point, I would say about eye contact with the audience, because at one point you were talking and you almost had your back to us. So just be wary of that, because you're a great speaker when you come up here, and that's everything. Thank you.
Okay, that's evaluation is done for tonight. Can I please request our timekeeper to come and share the times until the evaluation is good. So please make note of the names and cast your vote on the voting slip along the way.
Alright, this is the last time you'll see me tonight. David, 3 minutes 34 seconds. Just over. Tim, 3 minutes 18 seconds. Irina, 3 minutes 25 seconds. Cam, 3 minutes 29 seconds. And Sharon, 7 minutes 54 seconds.
So, votes for the best evaluator. So while we are collecting the votes for the best evaluator, may I please request our art master for tonight. Maybe the grammarian first. May I please request the grammarian to come in and share her report for the language used in today's meeting. So please welcome on stage Paula Lewis.
Pitch, rise and fall, words used, pregnant pauses, emotion, range of vocabulary, they all have the power to move us. And actually so does the way somebody has a special take on a topic. So I'm going to approach the role of grammarian from a slightly different angle this evening, and to say that actually the use of the word suspense was used throughout. And it was used throughout, not so much in terms of the number of times people actually used the word, but actually more in the sense of how we were kept in suspense. Suspense, waiting to be moved, waiting to see where is this topic actually going? What is this person's take on that particular subject? And so David kicked it off by saying that he would keep us in suspense, could tell us what the topic was going to be about in terms of Claudia's speech, or he might not. And even just with the words that we use throughout the whole of this evening, actually, thinking about words that Claudia used. Aced, egotistical, call to action. The use of alliteration was used a lot this evening. Read, and read some more. Oh, and did I say read again? Thinking about topics that other colleagues mentioned this evening. So with melody, and the wonderful use of vocabulary that was used, again, brilliant use of alliteration. So cherishing the vital sense of sound. She sort of started off when she was introducing her role as harpmaster. Sumit, thank you. Deep distress. And who wouldn't actually empathise with him? When he was studying, he was sort of recognising mountain depths as students. That's something that quite a lot of people can remember. So that was very, very visual, certainly for me, and I hope for others we could empathise with that. Colonel, overprotective, overbearing, and you could literally feel the weight of that pressure. So it's interesting actually to sort of look at it from that angle and not just focus on, was there a stop here? Was there a punctuation mark here? Very, very interesting take on it. Table topics, Rena, suspense, shambles. So I think really this evening I just want to commend everybody for their efforts, for having the courage to stand up here, to keep us in suspense as you do week in, week out, or every second and fourth Wednesday. So thank you to our guests as well for having the courage to keep us in suspense and to learn more about you this evening. Thank you.
Okay, time for a quiz. May I please request our art master for today, Melody, to come here and check if we've been listening intently. So please welcome stage Melody.
That Tanu's set up the premise of making a mistake early on, because I made a mistake in that and I know there's certainly one person in the room that won't believe that I didn't just eat them before I got here. I forgot to bring any sweets, but I promise that I will bring in sweets for the next meeting. For those who are guests, the way this works is the Harpmaster asks questions about the speeches and throws sweets supposedly to the people who get the answers right.
Metaphorical sweets.
So I'll ask the questions. If you think you know the answer, put your hand up. What acronym did Claudia use?
BAM.
BAM.
Where was Curler's home up until 2004? Yeah. Where did Sumit do his MBA?
France. Just so.
Who would rather be buried than cremated?
Amen.
Yeah. What item of clothing did Cam say that horses wear occasionally? Yes. Importantly, how does Tim eat his cream eggs?
Bite the head.
Bite the head off or wipe the top off? Chop the head off as the first answer, really.
And he said like humans, so I'm not sure if eating is humans or...
I do my private times up to those zombies.
What did Claudia encourage us to take?
Action.
Yeah. How long did it take Curler's husband to ask her out? Yeah. What was Samit deep in?
That.
Well.
True, but not the answer.
Oh shit.
I expect you to get that.
What did Curler do on arriving in the UK for work? Yes. And I think that's about it. Thank you.
Since the meeting started, I was planning to use the word suspense, but obviously Grammarian's report is done. But so the suspense about who did well tonight. Please welcome on stage our President David Horn, who would reveal the winners for today's categories. So please welcome David Horn.
This is always my favourite part of the meeting. Such fun. And one of my favourite ribbons to give out goes this evening to Curler. Anyone who does their icebreaker gets their icebreaker ribbon. And anyone who's been in Toastmasters and has started doing their speeches has given an icebreaker and knows what it feels like to stand up here for the first time and talk for 4 to 6 minutes. It's challenging, it's a vulnerable place, and Curler has a wonderful story with a beautiful smile. So please, Curler, come up and... Okay, what do we want to do next? I think let's do table topics next. So can I have a drum roll, please? Table topics. Ruth? Now you come more often. Well done. Thank you very much. That's all right. Wonderful. Good job. And for the best evaluator, a drum roll, please. Irina. And finally, the award for best speaker this evening goes to Caroline. Whoops, yeah, that's the right way. Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. So our next meeting is the 10th of July? The 10th of July and the 24th of July. And unlike the past 3 years, I will be here for that 2nd July meeting. Normally I go to Canada, but my wife's a teacher and we always go the day after her school breaks up. And her school doesn't break up till the Wednesday, so I'll be here on the Wednesday. So I'm only actually going to miss one August meeting this year. Normally I miss potentially 3, depending on how. Last year it was 3 in a row, but it's only going to be 1. But 10th of July, 24th of July, there are still roles available. There are still speaking slots available. Please sign up at Easy Speak. Guests, you've got your information packs. If you are interested in finding out more, reach out to anyone on the committee. And you're welcome to come back again if you're not sure and want to check us out. And you're welcome to come back if you want to just support a friend. Okay, thank you very much.